All right, friends, it's T, and I'm back with another video, and it's on Ryan Humiston. I've always wanted to make another video on this dude, Ryan Humiston. How I enslaved 1.88 million subs into lifting slaves, man. Yeah, man. This guy literally has enslaved 1.88 million subscriber slaves on his channel, which is, it's incredible. It's amazing how these influencers can enslave people. People are so easily enslaved on the internet. You just tell them stuff and they believe it. You know, it's crazy. Anyways, let's review this video of this gym slave.
The seated row is one of the most butchered exercises, period. For example, if this, or even this, resembles your form, you're wasting.
See, he's exercising. He's exercising. What does exercise do exactly?
Your time. Because honestly, the back is one of the easiest muscles to grow. So if yours isn't, it's not your genetic.
The easiest muscles to grow. How do you think muscles grow? How do you people out there think a muscle grows? You think you just roll like this back and forth and a muscle is going to magically grow out of thin air? How do you think it grows? Oh, and you think it gets bigger. How does it get bigger? See what I mean? This is where the dumb shit comes in. I got proof in the background. I can pop up something in a minute, but I'm not going to pop up a lot. Just one or two things. That's it.
It's you. But don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how. On top of that, by the end of this video, I'm going to teach you how to suck your own dick. You think I'm joking?
No, that puffy look he has, it's artificial muscle growth, man. That's sarcoplasmic hypertrophy because he's an endurance athlete. He exercises for endurance. There's a reason why. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, go all the way to the stages to show you how he got there, sarcoplasmic and all that. Watch my other videos, man. Gets tiring doing this.
Let's get after it. We're going to go over some of the common mistakes that people make on lat pull downs, seated rows, deadlifts, and even high elbow rows. But let's start with the seated row because it bothers me the most. Now, if done correctly, it's a phenomenal.
Yes, the seated row is going to magically get over MND size. You know, the two things that I don't understand this channel, and people are going to say, well, I'm getting damaged. I'm building a muscle. Oh, yeah. You are you? Hold on a second. So, yeah, I don't want that. Just give me a minute. Let me bring it up here. One of them is this one here. You got two problems when it comes to bodybuilding, okay? Oh, sorry. Shit. You got this problem. You slaves on his channel, you have this problem. Myonuclear domain size limit. MND size has a ceiling limit during hypertrophic process, beyond which extra myonuclei are donated by satellite cell to support further muscle growth. It is beyond. When does that happen? Newbie gains when you first come in the gym. No, I'm not going to bring up that graph. I get tired of bringing it up all the time. You go find it yourself. And then they're going to say, but I'm damaging muscles. So this is even the best too. I just love this one where, oh, but I'm damaging muscles as well. So you hit an MND size limit. There's no growth there. And then you have this thing, the repeated bout effect. I'm getting damaged though. I'm going to the gym and I'm damaging muscles. Oh, you are you? Uh-huh. What do you think it says there? The protective effects against muscle damage from single polycentric exercise. It's an adaptation. There's no more damage. That adaptation protects muscle from damage. Then it goes into slow twitch motor units. Recruit slow twitch. What is that? Endurance. Then what you get what they call sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. It's a type of training. What are you all getting in there? It's artificial muscle growth.
Phenomenal exercise for your lats. Most people categorize it as some ultimate mid-back.
So we know we hit an MND size limit during hypertrophic process when we first came in the gym. We call it newbie gains, genetic limit, whatever you want to call it. Never getting over it, hard gainer. You can call it all these things, whatever you want, but it's MND size. Then you're going to say, well, I'm getting damage. I'm getting damage. Every time I go, I'm getting damage. You are you? What kind of damage you getting there?
Back exercise that hits everything from rhomboids to mid-traps to rear delts. That's not the case. To best target your rhomboids, you shouldn't even row the weight. You should.
Yeah, strike at the rhomboids. That's gonna get where I'm with you. That's gonna grow muscles. Yeah, man. Okay.
And shrug it. If you wanted to target your mid-traps based upon fiber orientation, you should do a high elbow row. And if you're trying to hit rear delts, then you should just train your damn rear delts.
Yes, if I just do these movements, they have magic powers. Unlike a factory worker who's working 6 hours a day lifting heavy boxes, if I do these little movements, they have magic powers to grow muscles. The factory worker isn't growing. Want to know why? Because he's not doing these magic movements. He's lifting a box. Yeah, and these construction workers, they're busy. They're like using, these wheelbarrows, and they're lifting stuff a certain way, and they're using a hammer and whatever, but they're not doing these magic movements to grow muscles. Yeah.
The reason this is such a great lat exercise is because when your arms are close to your body, it falls right in line with one of the primary functions of the lat, which is extension. The only other muscles that can help with it,
I know. They're overtraining. That's it. That's the problem.
this action are your teres major or the clavicular head of your pec, or your biceps if you really screw it up. The biggest mistake on these becomes very apparent when you look at the form that most people use.
Yes, Mr. Humiston? So this machine has magic powers that grows muscles, eh? I had no clue. Boy, you're a genius.
When they do these. Most people opt for a very rigid back, straight up and down spine, which makes sense. Their heart's in the right place because they don't want to injure their back and shit out their spine.
I love his fake steroid muscles. Everybody knows he's on steroids. He's admitted it on his channel. So, steroids, they don't build muscles. They're enhanced performing drugs. He's just enhanced performing. He's a endurance athlete, man. He's just grabbing more glycogen in the muscle. These muscles are filled with glycogen. That's why they look so big. They're just puffy and big. Yeah.
I understand. Your lat actually comes up and gives your humerus the old reach around before it attaches, meaning that the more your shoulder goes into abduction, the greater stretch on the lat. So you can
see the go abduction, these magic things, and boo, voila, you're gonna get a muscle, bro. Get it?
see the issue with this exercise is that we have a very limited range of motion of that lat. You're basically letting it stretch slightly and then yanking it back up. That's the equivalent to if you were training.
Oh, that's the secret. See, that's the secret, man. You just go like this and like that, man. And just the bang, you're gonna get these muscles.
Biceps, and you go to do a curl and you barely let the weight go down and you jerk it right back up. What's that gonna do? In reality,
and you're gonna look exactly like him. When you do these movements, you're gonna look exactly like Mr. Humiston. Mr. Humiston. Mr. Humiston doesn't eat that much. See, that's why he takes steroids, because he doesn't need to eat that much, because the molecule will absorb whatever little amount of food he's eating. But in your case, you're going to have to eat more glycogen. If you're not on steroids, you're going to have to eat more glycogen to create those phony sarcoplasmic artificial muscles. Yeah, man.
You should have just as much hatred in your heart for this exercise as you do for T-bar rows.
So yes, you're going to have to put in the work, especially if you're an ectomorph. Those muscles are going to show more when you're eating sarcoplasmic if you're an ectomorph, because ectomorphs have extremely low body fat as opposed to mesomorphs and endomorphs. Yeah, man.
Because the way you do this exercise correctly is basically the exact same way. Specifically, you're going to hinge at the hips in the same way you do with the...
See, these pieces of iron and everything, they have magic powers. When you move them a certain way, the muscle magically grows, bro. Get it? Yeah.
T-bar row. That's going to create the angle you need with your back to be able to create length on that lat. And as long as your abdominals and erector muscles are tight, you can use significantly heavier weight without any issue and really overload that lat. And I know that's...
Yes, overload that lat. Yes, okay.
Not significantly heavier, but I just did this a second ago, and I almost died. Another fatal mistake that...
Did he just break that? I think this guy's an idiot.
people make has to do with 3 words you're going to hear me say throughout this video because it is the key to all back training, which is depression, protraction, and retraction. Your scaps are the key to make sure the tension stays in the muscle you're trying to target. For example, if you don't engage your lower traps and your serratus anterior to depress your scapula as you row, over time it's going to
Wow, this is very scientific how the muscle is going to magically grow using this machine. Okay.
elevate, which is going to shift the tension into your upper traps. And we've all seen people like this. When they row, they try not to, but they go directly into their upper traps, and you just assume that they probably masturbated themselves into this predicament. And the reason it's so important to think about the eccentric part of the movement as actively protracting your scap is because what's happening is that scapula is actually moving along your rib cage and creating a
Oh, it is it? Oh, interesting.
additional length in that lat. Because if you're not conscious of what's happening to your scaps as you go into the negative, you can actually create an incredibly deep stretch, but have zero tension on the lat. Yeah, it's at length, but at this point, all the tension is in your trap and in your neck. And if that's the case, then what's the point of even doing the exercise?
Man, that looks good, blowing up those muscles. Like a penis pump, bro. With glycogen in there, making them look massive. Yeah.
If you skip over eccentrically loading the lat in the first place. What I want you to do instead is depress your scap, and then instead of letting the weight...
You know, the funny thing, nobody on his channel looks like him. All these exercises that he does, I wish I could see his subs, but I can guarantee you 100% of his subs, none of them look the way he does from doing these exercises. Maybe the ones that are taking what he's taking, the cosmetics called steroids. But I doubt that anybody from just doing this exercise, I mean just doing the exercise, look anything like Ryan Humiston.
pull you into the negative. I want you to focus on punching through your serratus anterior, because as long as that's engaged, you're going to maintain tension on that lat. And then it's obviously important to force those shoulder blades into retraction, because if you don't, you can't fully contract your lat. And we've all seen people like this. This is where the phrase monkey fucking a football came from. Now, there obviously are some advanced techniques where you'd want to train a muscle at length the entire time.
See, you need advanced techniques. You need special technique, and that's going to make it magically grow out of thin air, even on a breatharian diet.
But you're not there yet. So to summarize the perfect seated row, you're going to hinge at the hips. That's going to give you the angle you need to...
So all these, you got to hinge at the hip. Again, we know that muscles reach an MD size limit, so we're not building any muscle. And we're not getting any muscle damage because of repeated bout effects. So what exactly are you getting here? There's only one option that is left. Truly, there can only be one option. And that would be... that would be this. Because now you're a trained person coming in. You're trained. You're not untrained. High volume resistance training in trained young men is largely attributed to what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Not it doesn't say myofibular hypertrophy. It says sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. And that sarcoplasmic is glycogen concentrations right there at the bottom there. Glycogen concentrations, man. So that kind of sucks, you know?
So to summarize the perfect seated row, you're going to hinge at the hips. That's going to give you the angle you need to...
That applies to steroids as well. If you're eating an artificial diet and your training is artificial, then you're creating artificial muscles, and they're called sarcoplasmic, because this is endurance training. This isn't muscle building. This is endurance training. You chronically lifting, moving, doing these things. It's just it.
Fully stretch those lats, but before you do, you depress those scaps, and as you punch forward, you punch through your serratus anterior, fully stretching, and as you come back, retract those scaps. And I guarantee if you do it like this, you're eventually going to be less small. Side note, I'm a big fan of nose strips. I wear them to bed, I wear them when I work out, and my favorite ones are these black ones by...
Yes.
Maintain the connection with your lats. As you get more advanced, then you can start protracting at the top of the movement to really force the stretch, and then to your body like a V
And that's going to magically build muscle. I got it.
bar handle. Now instead of only... I got so much bicep activation, but in reality, that's a static contraction, and a lot of that...
Yeah, you got some bicep activation. The activation of the biceps, that's magically going to build the muscle. Okay, got it.
Was fixed by being able to better control my scapula. So again, for the most effective wide grip lat pull downs, make sure your hands are wide enough so it's not into your biceps. Depression, and then as you go into the stretch, force protraction, contract down, retraction, and it's just those slight...
Wow, I didn't know words built muscles. Christ.
Little movements at the top and bottom.
What is this?
I left the gym on back day without doing deadlifts. I felt like I should just leave my
People actually watch this? I think he put his hand down his pants, man. What the fuck? This is gross.
testicles because I didn't deserve them. Here's the way I think about it. If you can only do 2, now for somebody that just loves to deadlift, by all means, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Everybody makes, including myself, and that's creating a pivot point in their upper back to
You gotta do a pivot point, and that's gonna magically build the muscle, bro. Okay.
hinge over top of. You're sitting out in front of Home Depot looking for work. Now look at her. She still can't speak a lick of English, but is that even a requirement anymore? What's important is she can lick her own ass. People always ask me, Ryan, why do you care so much? Why did you dedicate your entire life to helping others? The only thing I can say is,
Why did he dedicate his whole life to enslaving others into being lifting slaves? Because he wants to make money, and his thing is to scam you to make money, to get you to be a lifting slave. 1.88 million and rising. The more he gets, the more money he can pull. Yeah, from enslaving people. That's the whole point of society. Society enslaves people. They live off the backs of other slaves. What do you think the government does? They live off you. They get you to pay taxes, and you humbly pay them nicely, like a good little slave.
how do you not? After you see they drop new programs, the first one is the best so far. It's
See, he's got new programs for all of you lifting slaves. There's everything's out
a
there.
12-week push-pull legs that's got some sprinkles of high ball.
12 push-pull legs. Even though you're not building muscle, that domain ended. There's no muscle damage. What exactly are you doing? You are a lifting slave in this gym, because all of that shit ended. You're just lifting for no reason. You're not building anything in there. That's why you're all complaining, newbie gains, genetic limit, newbie gain limit, and I'm a hard gainer, blah, 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 blah. All this baloney shit, man.
Volume so you can crush yourself, and
Yeah.
they're exclusive to the app. For example, I'm in talks right now to buy a liquid chromatograph. If you don't know what that is, that's just what they use to test the
Yes, he's going to get you on this chromatograph and a bunch of things and test you, and going to build a muscle magically, electrocuting you. I'll see you in the next one. Touch, think about that, like, subscribe, comment down below. The slave master, bro. The lifting slave. Yes, stop doing this and start doing what he wants you to do and be a lifting slave. See you in the next one. Ciao, man.